Hello, my dear friends. Today I am sharing a story about why learning English is important. Before diving into the story, let me take a moment to explain the significance of this topic. English is a global language, connecting people from different countries and cultures. Whether it's for education, career opportunities, traveling, or simply building relationships, English opens countless doors. It's not just a subject in school, it's a skill that helps you connect with the world. This story revolves around a young boy named Alex. He comes from a small town where English wasn't widely spoken, and his journey of understanding the value of learning English is simple and relatable for everyone. The language barrier initially made him feel excluded, but as he learned step by step, it changed his life in ways he never imagined. So, my dear friends, this story is designed to inspire you, motivate you, and most importantly, remind you that learning English can be the key to unlocking many opportunities. Let's begin Alex's story. The story. Hello, my dear friends. My name is Alex, and today I want to share with you a story about how I realized the importance of learning English and how it changed my life. I come from a small village where everyone speaks the local language. Growing up, I never thought much about English. To me, it was just another subject in school, filled with confusing grammar rules and long vocabulary lists. I used to think, why should I even bother? Everyone around me speaks our language. What's the point of learning English? My attitude was casual, even careless, when it came to English. But as I grew older, I started noticing something. Whenever someone from our village needed to travel to the city, they would struggle to communicate with others. They couldn't read signboards, understand instructions, or even ask for directions. The realization hit me harder when I was in high school. A group of exchange students visited our school, and they spoke fluent English. They were confident, smiling, and friendly. I wanted to talk to them, but I couldn't form even a simple sentence. All I managed was a nervous smile. At that moment, I felt so small, so limited. It wasn't just about not knowing a language. It was about missing out on a chance to connect with people. That evening, I sat by the river near my house, thinking about the future. If I stayed the same, I would never be able to explore the world beyond my little village. I realized English wasn't just about academics. It was a skill that could help me grow, communicate, and be part of something bigger. So, I made a decision. I told myself, Alex, no more excuses. It's time to take this seriously. The first step was to improve my basics. I picked up an old English grammar book that had been lying on our bookshelf for years. I started reading simple sentences, trying to understand their meaning. At first, it felt overwhelming. The rules didn't make sense, and I often felt like giving up. But I remembered why I started, so I kept going. My biggest challenge was speaking. Even if I knew some words, I felt shy and awkward. Whenever I tried to speak in English, my tongue would freeze, and I would switch back to my local language. But I realized that fear was holding me back. So, I began talking to myself in English. Every morning, I would stand in front of the mirror and say, "Good morning, Alex. How are you today?" It felt silly, but it worked. One day, I heard about a free online English learning platform. I didn't have a smartphone then, but my neighbor kindly let me use his for an hour every evening. I watched videos, practiced pronunciation, and listened to English conversations. Slowly, my confidence grew. The real turning point came when I met Sarah, an English teacher who had moved to our village. Sarah was kind and patient. She told me, "Alex, learning English is like planting a tree. It takes time, but if you nurture it, it will grow strong and beautiful." Her words stuck with me. She gave me tips, corrected my mistakes, and encouraged me to practice daily. Months turned into years, and my efforts began to show. I could hold conversations, read books, and even write letters in English. When I graduated, I got a chance to work in a nearby city. My ability to speak English impressed my employer, and I was hired as a tour guide. Meeting tourists from different parts of the world was an incredible experience. Now I understand the value of English deeply. It's not just a language. It's a bridge that connects people, ideas, and cultures. I want to tell you, my friends, if you're hesitant or scared to learn English, don't be. Start small, be consistent, and never give up. After becoming a tour guide, life became an adventure. Every day brought new experiences and new people into my life. I met travelers from countries I'd only read about in books. Some spoke English fluently, others were learning just like I had been. It felt amazing to be able to communicate with all of them. One day, a family from Canada arrived for a tour. They had 2 young kids who were curious about everything. As I showed them around, the little boy asked me, "Alex, how did you learn English? You sound so good." I paused for a moment, smiling at his innocent question. "Well," I said, "it wasn't easy. I had to work hard, but I loved every moment of it. You know, learning English is like solving a puzzle. You find one piece at a time, and eventually it all comes together." His mother nodded. "That's such a wonderful way to put it. It must have been challenging to learn in your village." "It was," I admitted. "But when you have a strong reason, challenges don't feel as big. I wanted to connect with the world, and English was my way to do that." As they left, the little boy gave me a high five and said, "You're cool, Alex." It was a small moment, but it stayed with me. A new dream life in the city was good, but something was missing. I realized that many kids in my village didn't have the opportunities I had. They were just like me when I was younger, curious but unsure where to start. I wanted to change that. One evening, while sitting in my small apartment, an idea struck me. What if I started an English club in my village? A place where kids could come together, learn and practice English in a fun and supportive way. Excited, I called Sarah, my former teacher. "Sarah, I need your advice. I want to start an English club in our village. Do you think it's possible?" Her voice was warm and encouraging. "Alex, that's a wonderful idea. Remember, you're living proof that it's possible to learn English no matter where you come from. I'll help you in any way I can." The next weekend, I traveled back to my village. I gathered a few kids and their parents in the community center. Standing in front of them, I felt a mix of nerves and excitement. "Hello, everyone," I began. "You all know me as Alex, but today, I'm here as someone who wants to share something important. I believe every one of you has the potential to learn English, and I want to help you do it." The kids looked at me with wide eyes, and the parents exchanged curious glances. I explained my plan. Weekly meetings where we'd read stories, play word games, and practice speaking English. The response was overwhelming. Within weeks, the English club became the talk of the village. Kids came with their notebooks, eager to learn. Parents volunteered to help organize snacks and activities. Even the elders joined in, saying they wanted to learn enough English to greet tourists who passed through the village. Unexpected rewards. One evening, as the kids were practicing a short play in English, I saw my father standing in the doorway. He had always been skeptical about my efforts to learn English, thinking it wouldn't lead to anything practical. After the session, he approached me. "Alex, I'm proud of what you're doing. I never imagined English could bring so much to our village." Hearing those words from him meant the world to me. A global connection. Over time, the English club grew beyond our village. I started sharing videos of our sessions online, and soon people from other villages reached out, asking how they could start similar clubs. With Sarah's guidance, we created a simple guide and sent it to anyone who asked. One day, I received an email from an organization that promotes education in rural areas. They had seen our work online and wanted to collaborate. They offered resources, training, and even funding to expand our initiative. Standing in the same village where I once struggled to say a single sentence in English, I felt overwhelmed with gratitude. What started as a personal challenge had turned into a movement. A message to you. Now, my dear friends, as I share this story with you, I want you to know that learning English is not just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about opening your mind, building confidence, and connecting with people. If I, a boy from a small village, can do it, so can you. Remember, every word you learn, every sentence you speak, brings you closer to a world full of opportunities. So take that first step, no matter how small. One day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it inspires you to start your journey today.